Is the Apostle Peter the rock on which Jesus has built his church? Well, let's break this down. Matthew 16:18 says, and this is Jesus saying, "You are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church." There are two words that I want to zero in on, and that is Peter and rock. When we look at the Greek word for Peter, we find that it is Petros, which is a masculine noun that means rock or individual stone. When we look at the Greek word for rock, we find that it is Petra, which is a feminine noun that means bedrock or other large rock formation, which is in direct contrast to individual stones. And not only here did he use the word Petra, but in Matthew 7, early in Jesus' ministry, Jesus used this same exact word to describe the life in which a Christian should build on. Matthew 7:24 says, "Everyone then who hears these words of mine and does them will be like a wise man who built his house on the rock." The word Petra, which means bedrock or other large rock formation, is used, and it is used in the same way Jesus described himself, the bedrock on which his church would be built. Based on this understanding, it seems that Jesus is only contrasting Peter, the individual stone, to Jesus, the bedrock or large rock formation. In other words, Jesus was like, and I paraphrase, "Hey Peter, you are the small rock, one of the many rocks, but I am the foundation of the church." And by no means am I downgrading the Apostle Peter, because him as well as all of the apostles played a foundational role in the building of the early church. But to say that the church is built on Peter is absolute lunacy. It's built on Jesus Christ and him alone. Christ himself is called the chief cornerstone according to 1 Peter 2, 6-7, which was quoted by Peter himself. It was Jesus who referred to himself in Matthew 21:42 as the cornerstone. If Christ declared himself to be the cornerstone, how could Peter be the rock upon which the church was built? The truth is, believers are the stones that make up the church. They are built upon the foundation of the apostles and prophets and anchored to the cornerstone, who is King Jesus Christ. Scripture nowhere records Peter being in Rome or starting the church there. Scripture nowhere describes Peter as being supreme over the other apostles. The New Testament does not describe Peter as being the all-authoritative leader of the early church. The origin of Catholicism is not in the teachings of Peter or any other apostle for that matter. If Peter truly was the founder of the Roman Catholic Church, it would be in full agreement with what Peter taught, and it's not. So again, when we allow Scripture to speak, Scripture does, loud and clear.